This is a continuation of our reading of John Calvin's Institutes of the Christian Religion. Number 14. In vain for us, therefore, does creation exhibit so many bright lamps lighted up to show forth the glory of its author. Though they beam upon us from every quarter, they are altogether insufficient of themselves to lead us into the right path. Some sparks undoubtedly they do throw out, but these are quenched before they can give forth a brighter effulgence. Wherefore the apostle in the very first place, when he says that the worlds are images of invisible things, adds that it is by faith we understand that they were framed by the word of God in Hebrews 11, verse 3, thereby intimating that the invisible Godhead is indeed represented by such displays, but that we have no eyes to perceive it until they are enlightened through faith by internal revelation from God. When Paul says that that which may be known of God is manifested by the creation of the world, he does not mean such a manifestation as may be comprehended by the wit of man, Romans 1 verse 19. On the contrary, he shows that it has no further effect than to render us inexcusable, Acts 17 verse 27, and though he says elsewhere that we have not far to seek for God, inasmuch as he dwells within us, he shows in another passage to what extent this nearness to God is availing. God, says he, in times past suffered all nations to walk in their own ways. Nevertheless, he left not himself without witness, in that he did good, and gave us rain from heaven and fruitful seasons, filling our hearts with food and gladness. Acts 14, verses 16 and 17. But though God is not left without a witness, while the numberless varied acts of kindness he woos men to the knowledge of himself, yet they cease not to follow their own ways. In other words, deadly errors. Number 15. But though we are deficient in natural powers which might enable us to rise to a pure and clear knowledge of God, still all the dullness which prevents us is within. There is no room for excuse. We cannot plead ignorance without being at the same time convicted by our own consciences, both of sloth and ingratitude. It were indeed a strange defense of man to pretend that he has no ears to hear the truth, while dumb creatures have voices loud enough to declare it. To allege that he is unable to see that which creatures without eyes demonstrate, to excuse himself on the ground of weakness of mind, while all creatures without reason are able to teach. Wherefore, when we wander and go astray, we are justly shut out from every species of excuse, because all things point to the right path. But while man must bear the guilt of corrupting the seed of divine knowledge so wondrously deposited in his mind, and preventing it from bearing good and genuine fruit, it is still most true that we are not sufficiently instructed by that bare and simple, but magnificent testimony which the creatures bear to the glory of their Creator. For no sooner do we, from a survey of the world, obtain some slight knowledge of deity, that we pass by the true God, and set up in his stead the dream and phantom of our own brain, drawing away the praise of justice, wisdom, and goodness from the fountainhead, and transferring it to some other quarter. Moreover, by the erroneous estimate we form, we either so obscure or pervert his daily works, as at once to rob them of their glory, and the author of them of his just praise.